scores majestically.
Oh my word! Fabulous!
Oh, what a strike that is. Simply spectacular.
Oh, it's an absolute beauty, isn't it?
The best goal of the night.
It all starts here.
Hello and welcome to National League 72 as we look back at what's been a madness week of National League fixtures down at the bottom and in the playoffs. Plus, we'll be speaking to Jack Bacon from Prostate Cancer UK. It's going to be a great show, Erin. Only one place to start. The madness that was happening in midweek down at the bottom of the table.
Yeah, incredible. It was almost like the results had turned upside down. You know, this is the time of the season where all of a sudden you start seeing some crazy results. Probably not as crazy as we saw in midweek with, you know, the teams at the bottom all going and getting good positive results.
Well, let's start with FC Halifax 0, Dagenham Redbridge 1. It's been a topsy-turvy week for Dagenham. Obviously, the fans have had their say, but 21 of them made the trip to FC Halifax and they got the result they wanted. Yeah,
brilliant. You know, fair play to the 21 that made the trip. First of all, midweek up to Halifax is, you know, that's a fair slog. But Dagenham desperately needed that win. You know, they've been on a terrible run, you've got to say. You know, Lewis Young has really struggled to kind of implement his style of play and get the results from it. That was massive for them. They needed to make sure that they won that game because they've been the team that has looked most likely to slide into that bottom four. So, you know, hopefully for them, they'll be able to now go on a run.
Yeah, it was a big win for them. It was their first since New Year's Day, so a much needed 3 points for the Daggers. Altrincham versus Wealdstone. You know, for Dagenham who get the result they wanted, you're hoping results go your way elsewhere, but Wealdstone pick up a valuable 3 points, a 1-0 victory away at Altrincham.
Yeah, well, Wealdstone again needed to get the win. They needed to almost try and get that bit of confidence that they had, you know, a few weeks ago. You know, they'd gone and won 3 games in a row and then all of a sudden hit a bit of a stumbling block. So they needed to get back to winning ways. But Altrincham, it's, you know, they were my tip to win the playoffs at one point. They seem to have fallen off a cliff now, you know, really struggling to get results. And if they have any chance of getting in the playoffs, they really need to turn their form around and quickly.
And when Wealdstone re-signed Alex Reid, we said how much of an impact can he have? He's got 5 goals in 5 games for them, so they need him more than ever now until the end of the season.
Yeah, well, I said when he went back, you know, I said that he feels comfortable there. He plays in a team that knows how he plays. They play in a way that suits him. And, you know, listen, the Oldham thing didn't quite work out. But him coming back has been a huge boost for Wealdstone and a huge boost for him because now his goal tally is mirroring his performances.
Rochdale 2, Boston United 3. It looks close on paper, but Boston had a 3-0 lead and nearly gave it away. They are on some run. The Great Escape is definitely on.
Absolutely. You know, I think you've just got to look at what Graham Coughlin's done since he's gone in there and just take your hat off to him. You know, I think that they were probably dead and buried before he walked in the door. And all of a sudden, he's just come and they're just chalking off win after win. It's not even just picking up, you know, the odd point here and there. It's win after win after win. And now they're, I think, just a couple of points from safety. You know, the run that they're on, they're probably the most informed team in the league, let alone in that bottom pack, bar Barnet, obviously. And they really look like they're going to get out of it now. If they do, that really is the Great Escape, and he'll be up there along with Dean Brennan for Manager of the Year because what he's managed to do so far in a short space of time has been nothing but miraculous.
We've just got to pick up on another fan, a Boston United fan, Tiger Sneeve. I like this. He's gone only 19 points off the playoffs. Some massive 6-pointers ahead versus playoff rivals Southend, Gateshead, Sutton and Altrincham. Getting ahead of himself a little bit there, I'd say.
Yeah, listen, I think that's definitely a tongue-in-cheek tweet. But listen, what you've got to say is they are now looking, they really, for Boston, if they're able to move out of that relegation zone, that's a successful season. They were everyone's tip to get relegated at the beginning of the season. Financially, stadium-wise, everything is against them. You know, you've got to say, being one of the newly promoted teams. But what they've done over the last few weeks, what they're showing is a real desire and a real determination to want to stay in the National League, to want to make sure that they can, you know, build on what's already been put in front of them. So full credit to everyone concerned because, like I say, they're impressive. And now you look week in, week out, you look at them and say, do you know what? This is another game that they can win, regardless of who they're playing.
Your old team, Aldershot, 1-0 victory away at Maidenhead, which we say is always a tough place to go. They're pretty much safe now. Are you still having them down as relegation candidates? Never say never in the National League.
Yeah, listen, I do think they'll be safe now. A few weeks ago, similar to what we're saying about Dagenham, they were in trouble. They needed big performances. We saw Cam Hargreaves was one of the ones that really stepped up, scoring in really important goals. And now as a team, they just look a lot more functional, a lot more cohesive. And now they look like, a couple of results go their way and then they'll be safe. And obviously they've got the FA Trophy semi-final against Woking to come as well.
Yeah, massive game there, big local derby. Gateshead 1, Braintree Town 3, a result that I'm sure not many people saw coming, but the fans are loving the Lisby connection. George Don says, the Lisby connection is fire. And then we've got Caelan Lisby, obviously the other brother, who's probably really good at football as well, in capital letters, Kyrie's Let's Go. What a great victory for them, and it's great to see that they're loving the Lisby connection.
Well, it's you've got to say it's a masterstroke from the manager. You've already got Kyrell there, who was their top goal scorer with 10 goals at the time anyway. Then you bring in his brother, who's, he's doing the pyramid in the reverse order. He's gone from Brentford, signed permanent for Colchester, but then to bring him in, give him that experience, the same experience that Kyrell's having. And those two have obviously got that telepathic connection anyway. They're both really exciting players. So putting them together for me, is genius and is only going to help enhance what is already improving Braintree team. And you've seen by the few games that they've had together, it's already starting to work.
Yeah, it was a tough night for AFC Fylde, who lost at home to Sutton 2-1. So they are right in the mix of the relegation battle. Obviously, the biggest winners were probably Dagenham, Redbridge winning away, and they've been very vocal on social media. And this is what Football Tripper has said. He's gone, that is what happens when every player digs in. Come on, let's fight for every point now. The daggers ain't dead. It's going to be a very feisty affair until the end of the season of who goes up and who goes down. But it is now time to pick Aaron's top 3 goals from the weekend. Plenty of action, plenty of football, plenty of goals. What have you gone for at number 3?
Well, there was plenty of good goals throughout, but number 3, I've gone for Alex Newby. This one I've gone, it's a tight angle. To strike the ball with your left foot into that far top corner is some technique. So yeah, fantastic strike from Alex. Unfortunately, didn't get any points for it, but brilliant strike, number 3.
Number 2?
Number 2, I've gone for Ronan Mayer. This was close to being number 1. From the left-hand side, he gets it, and the strike, far top corner with his right foot. Brilliant strike. Unfortunately for him, only manages to be at number 2 this week.
Then who has taken top spot this week?
Well, top spot, I have to go to Jay Bird. This more because the 2 touches, first with his head, the touch with the thigh just sets it nicely. But to be able to hit the ball with that technique, fantastic. It's such a difficult skill and he makes it look really easy. So yeah, purely for technique and power, which I love, Jay Bird gets top spot this week.
Well, let us know on social media if you agree with Aaron. Right, coming up later in the show, we'll be speaking to Jack Bacon from Prostate Cancer UK ahead of non-league day this Saturday, which is live on DAZN.
"47 years of promoting boxing. What a ride it's been. I I was 23 years old at the time. I got an invite from the Boxing Board of Control to take a licence out. Back then, it was all run by the cartel.
We have a new promoter in British Championship Boxing, Frank Warren.
People liked it, I think, the fact that someone was taking the cartel on. I've never been afraid about shaking things up and working with new media.
This is a bit of a dream come true.
Pay-per-view, satellite TV.
Very proud of Amir. What he done was fantastic.
Bringing shows in from America Live. I've been lucky enough to promote some of the biggest names in boxing.
I'd like to thank Mr. Frank Warren for having me over here.
Just when you think it can't get any bigger, my mobile rang. We get this call from His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh. Off we went to the races. I'm as competitive as my fighters, and I fight for my fighters. I'm always looking for the next challenge, and I know there's one there now.
Queensbury arrives at the home of boxing, DAZN, multi-year deal, let's go.
This is a company that is devoted to boxing. They have a worldwide platform. And for us, that is very, very important to do what Queensbury is doing, to be expanding and building, working together for the betterment of boxing, as I believe it will be.
DAZN is the global home of women's football, bringing you the best live games. With the biggest stars, battling it out in the biggest competitions.
Cue the chaos! First blood in the title decider. Would you believe it?
Witness every season-defining moment.
Written in the stars!
Live and on demand, only on DAZN.
Also catch all the goals and action from this week's round of the National League with our highlight show, exclusively live on DAZN every Sunday from 4 p.m. We're delighted to be joined by Jack Bacon now from Prostate Cancer UK. He is the Community Fundraising Manager. Jack, Non-League Day plays a huge part for lots of people around the country, and Prostate Cancer UK get involved. Just tell us a little bit about what your involvement is.
Yeah, so Non-League Day was formed originally by a chap called James Doe. He essentially wanted to bring non-league fans to non-league fixtures and celebrate the grassroots football. We've been working them now for 11 years, and basically for us, it's really about spreading awareness of prostate cancer to those communities. You know, we know that unfortunately, football fans of non-league football, football at its grassroots, is affected by prostate cancer. So it's a really important place for us to be there. Obviously, we know, the sort of worrying stats around prostate cancer is that one in 8 men will get it. It's 1 in 4 if you're a black man as well. So again, that's what emphasises why we want to be around in football. And on Non-League Days, it's a really good way for us to, raise awareness of the risk, also raise some funds, and actually just sort of also just embrace the fun of Non-League Day. So we've got a whole host of clubs. We've got about 50 clubs across the UK doing stuff for us. Going as far back to the southwest end of Cornwall, we've got a club called Mousehole AFC. They're doing some great stuff. The players are wearing the shirts in warm-up. They're auctioning their shirts. They've even gone off. One of the guys there is like a massive Sabutio fan. And we've had a Sabutio team made up of these guys wearing this shirt, playing the Mousehole team. Again, for Mousehole to be emulated in the Sabutio team is pretty good. And then raging up, we've got the Altrincham game on the Saturday. We've got like clubs like West Essex. They're doing they're hosting Pay What You Can, and then splitting the proceeds with us. Mm-hmm. And then also, we've got this really great opportunity with the Essex Senior League on Saturday, which is a ground hop, which is also being joined. The Premier League trophies coming to a number of fixtures. I'm going to be going to that, carrying a giant man of men to these grounds, packed in the back of a Ford Fiesta. So that should be pretty funny. But of course, Premier League trophies coming to that. And yeah, I mean, it's just a really good way. It's really important for us to be in the world of football, and that doesn't really matter whether it's the Premier League or the National League. Yeah. And that's what we're there.
Yeah, I was just going to say, obviously, I'm 41. I've always thought prostate cancer was, people 45 and above. Yeah. But really, myself, I should be going and getting checked, especially being black.
Yeah, so absolutely. I mean, you're on the right path that we talk about. So prostate cancer, you're more at risk of prostate cancer if you're a man. Okay, it's only men that have prostates, but your risk increases significantly once you're over 50, mm-hmm. or if you've got a family history of prostate cancer as well, so that increases your risk. And also, we now know if you're a black man. So, like I said, the stats for black men is 1 in 4, as opposed to non-black men, which is 1 in 8.
And obviously, for myself, you know, if you are unfortunately one of, you know, the 1 in 4 or 1 in 8 that are diagnosed with it, is it better the earlier you can catch it, the better the chances of recovery?
Absolutely. I mean, every case is unique, but in general, you catch anything early enough, then it's going to be more treatable. I think doing the risk checker, which is really great, it takes 30 seconds, you do it online. If you find yourself are at risk through doing that, then the next course of action would be to go and speak to your GP and get a simple blood test. But that's the next step.
Yeah, I took the test before we came and filmed. It literally took 30 seconds, no time at all. Even at 37, should I be thinking about it? I know I'm quite low risk, is what it said, but it should be something that's always in the back of my mind.
Yeah, look, I mean, I'm 44. I've been doing this job for 15 years. When I started, prostate cancer was something that seemed a long way off. But yeah, I think it's really important. It's the most common cancer. So it is important that all men are educated with prostate cancer and just know when they reach those milestones that it's something they need to be more aware of. Absolutely.
I look at prostate cancer as one of those things that I know a few people that have been affected by it. I've not personally directly been affected by it, but I think this is one of those things that you shouldn't wait to be affected to really care about, should you? This is one of those things that you should be proactive about in getting yourself serviced, so to speak. And secondly, about making other people, other people that you know that may be coming around the age, that may be black, and making sure that they go and get checked themselves and really push. This is something, especially in this country, that we don't really push enough, isn't it?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a stigma that men don't like to talk about their issues. I do think that's probably changing as we're getting older. Like the guys that are younger now are much more open, but absolutely, like it's one man dies every 45 minutes. That's why we've got 45 on the shirt. That's why we've got players at the Essex Senior League wearing a number 45 shirt during their games. So that number alone, which is another reason why we work in football, it's an obvious number. That number alone is just highlights how important it is for guys to be aware of prostate cancer. And I think absolutely we should all be aware of it and just be aware of what our risks are really. And then when we reach, like I said, when we reach those stages, that's exactly what we want to do. And the risk checker is actually such a fantastic and useful way to do it because it's quick. It puts you down the path if you need to be. If it doesn't, you remember it. You're 37. Come back again in 3 or 4 years' time and fill it out then. So it's got you thinking about prostate cancer as well.
And I'm sure there's an amazing support network for those who may not get the results that they want.
Yeah. I mean, we, as a charity, obviously we have a helpline, which is really great. So families, people that have been affected by prostate cancer, that's free, that's there. You can reach that through our website. That's really, really good. Also, just speaking to your GP. And there's lots of literature and awareness on prostate cancer. It's good. It's something we should all be aware of.
Jack, thank you very much for coming in and speaking to us. There's a QR code that you can click on the screen now. Do go get yourself checked. You can visit the website as well, prostatecanceruk.org. Go get yourself checked. Don't miss our double header on non-league day this Saturday. First up is Sutton United and Dagenham and Redbridge, who desperately need the points to stay out of the relegation places. And our featured fixture has table-topping Barnet travel to playoff hopefuls Altrincham. Coverage starts from 5 p.m. live on DAZN. Okay, let's take a look at the double header happening live on DAZN this weekend, starting with Sutton United versus Dagenham and Redbridge, both coming off the back of big wins in midweek. How'd you see this one going?
I think this will be an interesting game. Both teams are going to want to try and build on what they've just achieved in terms of victories. I do think this is again another game that Dagenham really need to build on. They need to put foot to the floor now, and they need to make sure that they're picking up maximum points. I don't think draws at this stage of the season really help because everyone around them seems to be picking up points. So I'm actually going to go for a Dagenham win.
Yeah, momentum's going to be key going into the final stages of the season. The next live game on DAZN is Altrincham versus Barnet, 5:30 kickoff. Barnet on this unbelievable run, Altrincham on this unbelievable losing streak. Do you see it just being an away win for the Bees?
I don't. Funny enough, because it's the National League, if there's any league, this is the league that throws up the most surprising results. And Barnet absolutely flying, nailed on to win the league. Altrincham going through a terrible run. If there was ever a game to flip your season around, it's this game. This is a shot, it's almost a free hit. And I think that they'll use that to their advantage, and they could potentially cause an upset here.
Yeah, it's going to be a great afternoon of football, and it's going to be a great one at Oldham as they take on FC Halifax Town. It's 4th versus 5th. The playoff places are up for grabs, but these two teams just seem to be staying put. They're in there, they're ticking along, but for one of them, they need to get a really good result against the other to get a better spot.
Yeah, they do. You know, you've got the likes of Rochdale and Altrincham, if they can flip their form around, who are going to be wanting to try and make sure that they displace one of these two teams. So it's a really good game. You know, both teams will want to make sure that they don't lose it, but the 3 points will be vital towards them securing playoff positions. 3
points will be vital for Wealdstone as well. But Woking, who, you know, they're just above it, they look safe, but also they can easily be dragged into it. And that is exactly what Wealdstone will want to do, is bring more teams into the mix of who might go down.
Absolutely. That's their objective now. Who else can we drag in and put in the mix so that once we come to the end of the season, they've got a better chance of staying up. Under Neil Ardley, Woking had been, you know, they'd been brilliant. But now all of a sudden they're just starting to just get pulled towards that pack. They need to get a result to make sure that they keep their distance.
Gateshead versus Tamworth. Going to be another good game for them.
Another brilliant game. Tamworth, I've been really impressed with this season. I think they've gone under the radar. You know, they've not really been spoken about that much, but gone about their work really, really smartly. And Gateshead, I think Gateshead need to find some consistency. At the moment, they're a little bit hot and cold.
And Eastleigh versus Southend, you feel like they've both not really got much to play for. They've got an outside chance to the playoffs. I mean, it is the National League. You never know what might happen, but I mean, for the losing team of that game, it's definitely over.
Yeah, I think these are the two nearly teams. You know, they've just been tinkering on the edge of the playoffs. I'd say Southend will probably be the happier of the two, just purely because from where they were, their progression, they've gradually crept up towards near the playoff section. But yeah, these are two teams that I think would just now be building for next season, because both teams realistically should have been in and around that playoff pack.
And it's kicking off in the National League South. Worthing are sitting top. You've got Dorking, Truro, Torquay, all within a chance of going top. But in the National League North, we saw a big result for Kidderminster Harriers against top of the table Scunthorpe. They beat them at 1-0. Both managers got sent off towards the end. An absolute chaotic game. And at the weekend, it's Scunthorpe versus Chester, with the winner goes top if Chester beat Scunthorpe. So it's all set up to be another amazing weekend in the National League North as well.
Yeah, I think the National League North and the National League South, you can't take your eyes off it. You know, I can't wait for the playoffs, because it's going to be so enjoyable. But the race till the end of the season for North and South is going to be brilliant. And that game, what a game. Scunthorpe v Chester, that is a massive, massive tie in the North.
And you won't be able to take your eyes off the biggest club competition taking place in the summer. It kicks off on June 14th and it's exclusively live on DAZN. Take a look at this.
Greatness comes to DAZN this summer. The world's best players will be summoned together to decide the greatest club on earth.
Vinicius, great chance to score.
Goats will battle Wonder Kids. Fire will meet ice. From Boca to Bayern, PSG to Palmeiras, 32 clubs from across the globe will compete to be crowned
Rodrigo, what a strike that was!
world champion. And this summer, Haaland won't be watching from home, but you can, on DAZN. In every country in the world. FIFA Club World Cup. Watch on DAZN from the 14th of June.
To wrap things up, we have to talk about the guy that's had the best week of his life in football. Former Darlington player Dan Burn, who's had an England call-up, scored at Wembley and won the Carabao Cup. A great advocate for players that have come through the Football League pyramid.
Absolutely. You know, Dan, obviously, I played with Dan at Birmingham. Great lad, great work ethic. And I don't think anyone could have foreseen the rise that he's had. And he hasn't been given anything. He's had to work hard, even though he's so tall. He's had to really work hard at his game, but you know, he's turned into a really accomplished and trustworthy central defender. You know, doing amazing work at Newcastle, and he's got an opportunity to go and represent his country. You know, and winning the first trophy in 7 years for Newcastle. a Newcastle fan growing up, if Carlsberg could make 1 week, this would have definitely been the week, and Dan Burn would be the man.
And it's great for players that are in the non-league system now and have got journeys similar to Dan, have had to fall out of the professional game, that they can still find a path to greatness in this sport.
Yeah, listen, season upon season, we're constantly, shown examples that it's never too late. As long as you're prepared to put the work in and dedicate yourself, there's certain sacrifices that you have to make. But Dan Burn is a perfect example of somebody that's made those sacrifices, continued to work hard at his craft, and has gone from, Darlington all the way up to close to representing his country and winning a trophy for Newcastle. So, again, just another example. If anyone needed that push, Dan Burn's just delivered it.
Absolutely. There are plenty of hidden gems in the National League and lower. Right, that's it from us for National League 72. We'll see you next week.